of you that are wondering, BJ's still single, but Cliff is not. How many of you got to know? You just got to know. You got to know? Jason, where's Jason? You said it before. Jason Glenn left. He's what? Oh, just get whatever you need. Take your time. Loser. How many of you are that kind of person? You just got to know, no matter what. Nope. Back to where we were. My wife is the ultimate. I told this story before. She's the ultimate in got to know. Like if I say to her, I got a surprise for you, she says to me, tell me now. And her head starts spinning around in circles. She's spitting green stuff, and she's like waiting. She took it to a new level last week. Because last week, when was the 19th was my birthday? And the Wednesday before the Saturday that was my birthday, not only does she not wait for her surprises anymore, now she doesn't wait for my surprises anymore. So it's Wednesday, and she's going, you want to know what I got you? You want to know what I got you? You want to know? You want to know? And I guess the problem with me is, like, I'm good. You know, like I could know or I could wait most of the time. Like unless the surprise is like $1 million, Trey, that you've got in your pocket over there you want to give me, I could probably wait. Because the way I got it figured, I'm going to be here Saturday, and I'm okay with that. My wife cannot do that. Some of you, Jason Glenn, you came in and sat down. Now, you said it right before we started. You can't do that. You got to know. Well, the question that I must ask you tonight is, because some of you are that way. Some of you, you've gone through like closet after closet looking for stuff that people are giving you, and you've unwrapped it, played with it, put it back under the tree. Don't lie. Mickey did it. I know. You had that video game. I know. Some of you are that way. But the question tonight is, do you know, because if you've got to know, right, you got to know everything. The question tonight is, do you know where you will go after you die? Because some of you just got to know everything. And even me, I don't really have to know all that much. I just have to know where the Diet Coke and the pizza is, and other than that, I'm good. But so many people in our world that just have to know everything are okay not knowing that. And we look at the stats of it. You got 64% of the people in a study, in a survey, said that when they die and leave this planet, they're going to go to heaven. 64% of the people in the survey. Half of 1% of those people said when they die, they're going to go to hell. Half of 1%. But here's the real key to this whole study. 25% that's left over said they don't know. Now, I got on a plane this morning, like I said, at 12:25 a.m., and I planned that. A couple weeks back, I was working with Mo, who gets all the tickets and is our basic travel agent for the church. But before I planned that and before I bought that ticket, I made sure of where that flight was going. Does that make sense? Like, how many of you just gone to the airport and said, just give me any flight? Really, where would you like to go? Not so concerned about that. I just don't want to be here anymore, so take me. I know you feel that way a lot. You're like, I don't want to be here. I don't give a rip where you send me. How far can I get on $11.19? That's what you're thinking. What ticket you selling me for $12? But the world will tell you that 25% of the people you deal with every day have absolutely positively no idea where they're going to go after they die and leave this place. And I know you're thinking, well, this is the life swap thing. How's this working out? I'm going to show you in just a minute. Because I want to promise you that tonight, before you leave here, you will understand how to know where you are going to go forever. Because here's what happens. After you die and leave this big ball we call the earth, you will spend eternity after that in one of two places. You will go to a place called hell that is eternal separation from the God that created you, or you will go to a place called heaven that is eternal time with the God that created you. Now, we've discussed it for you men in here that freak out over that. You don't have to sing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for eternity. You just sing most of it, not all of it. But when you die and leave this planet, you will go one of those two places. And I want to help you understand tonight how you can know which one of those places you're going to go to. And in order to do that, there are three things that you've got to be willing to understand. One, you've messed up. We have messed up the plan that God created us for. Anybody in here thinking, I'm actually I didn't do that. I'm the one person in here that has never messed up anything. Anybody want to come stand up on stage and testify? We've all messed up. I want to read a story to you. We're going to walk through this story tonight, but it's out of Luke chapter 23, verse 39 through 43, and this is part of the story about when Jesus was crucified on the cross. And as you know, and you have at least heard that Jesus lived 33 years on this earth, a perfect life, without sin. He's the only one that ever lived that long and didn't mess up. And he's crucified for it at the end of his life, and he was crucified between two thieves. So basically, to put it, as offensively as possible, he was crucified between two of us. Two people that did deserve to be there. And I want to read some things to you out of Luke chapter 23. It's going to pop up on the screen. It says, one of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him. Aren't you the Christ? Save yourself and us. But the other criminal rebuked him. Don't you fear God, he said. Basically, that's Greek for, dude, shut up. Do you know who this is? Since you are under the same sentence, we are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong. Then he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus answered him, I tell you the truth, today you will be with me in paradise. The thing that this thief on the cross understood, the first thing we see here is that he understood he had messed up. No one else had messed him up. We'll talk about it in a minute. We can't blame that on anybody else, but he messed up. And what you've got to understand in your life is that you have, just like Scripture tells us, you've messed up the plan that God put here. Because why? Because we start early messing things up, don't we? God tells us that we are born into this world with a sinful desire. That means we come out ready to tick somebody off. How many of you were born, you were the first unselfish child ever born? My baby didn't even wait to the hospital. She's like, I'm out. I got no reason for that. We're going to let this car tonight represent the life that God gave you. And we're going to walk through the fact, because the truth is we all mess stuff up. And we mess it up even as babies. When we are children, we are born with a nature to mess some things up. And you come out as a child looking desperately to mess stuff up. Anybody have it? You have a child that doesn't? You have the unselfish child. TK, Summer's the one? She's never messed anything up. You want me to give some testimonies, or are you just going to keep acting like that? Oh, we love Summer. My children mess some things up. They go through the house, and I clean it, and I don't clean it. My wife cleans it, and they destroy it. Testify. I know we got some children that do that. And you know what they do? They start early with things like this. And they say to us, hey, this is just who I am. Did any of you, when you had a child, have to send them to sin school? You didn't do that? You didn't send them to school I sent mine to? That said, hey, here's how you tear something up. We start early. My child came home the other day, Taylor. She won an award, okay, called the Soaring Eagle Award, which I've never been more proud of because it's an award on character. So she wins an award for treating people right and being nice and kind and stuff. And yes, we all understand that that's from her mother. We get that, okay? But that same little girl comes home the other day, and I hear her in the back seat of my truck saying to Jordan, "This is called flipping the bird." You follow me? And I look, that's from my side of the family. I look back at my daughter because she's explaining and holding up both hands, "This is flipping the bird." And I go, "Wait a minute." Now, my child was taught by her mother to have good character. When he stood up as the principal at Alto Park Elementary School and said, "I want you parents to know this is the highest honor we give out. This is an award for your child's character." She was taught that. She was not taught, I know what you think, but she was not taught at home, "Hey, Taylor, tomorrow go to school and learn how to flip the bird at people." And then she's riding along the other day, and she says to me, "Daddy, Jordan flipped a bird." And Jordan says, "I didn't even see a bird." But we start early, and we start destroying the life that God gave us. And then we even do some other stuff. Then we get to what we call middle school. Anybody ever go to middle school? Anybody remember middle school? Hey, that won't break. I'll get my something out in a minute and fix that window. Hey, Dave Bryant, did you make any mistakes in middle school that you still remember? Huh? You don't remember them. In middle school, every person, there's like 4 people in the world in middle school that were not geeks. The rest of you were. The rest of us were. And then we go to high school. Anybody ever been to high school? High school, we begin to look at every girl that comes along, and we begin to try to think of what we can do to become the coolest person that ever lived. And we make mistake after mistake after mistake in high school. Some of you today are 30 and 40 and 50 years old, and every day you hate what you did in high school. And you mess things up. Some of you then went on to college. And you lived that perfect little life. I've been in the perfect little family in the perfect little church for my whole life, and everything's all grand. And then I went to college. And you made some mistakes in college that you seriously believe with all your heart you will never, ever, ever get over. Because this is what God gave you, and you have messed it up. We have an amazing ability to mess up our lives. We start at birth. We go all the way through middle school, which is for all the geeks. We go to college, and then we become adults. And as adults, you live your life in a way that is killing the life God gave you. And you have had mistake after mistake, and you have messed up and messed up and messed up. And what God says to you tonight is, if you are in any way interested in knowing where you're going to go when this whole thing's over, first thing you've got to recognize is that you have messed up. That's what God teaches us. But then you've got the scripture part of it that talks about what the thief on the cross is actually saying. And he goes before and he's talking to Jesus as the guy in the middle. And he's saying, I know I messed up. What do I do now? I know that I've made all of these mistakes. What do I do next? And there's some things you've got to recognize about that, because when you messed up, the key to it is there's two things you've got to recognize about that. Number one, you don't get to ignore it. See, when you became an adult, you started making some mistakes over here that began to show, didn't you? I mean, you can beat some things off on the side and make some dents in the hood and stuff, but you get to that college and then you get to that adult world and you begin to make some mistakes that actually show up. And people see what you are making of your life. You cannot ignore what you have done. For many of us, we truly believe that I'm just going to take the rest of my life and act like I'm all okay and act like everything's fine. You pull up in that car at my house and say, hey, what do you think about my new car? What am I going to do? I'm going to laugh at you, because I'm a critical laugher. I laugh when people do stupid things. And you pull that up in my driveway, and you can say, oh, this is perfect, all you want to, but it's messed up. Number two thing, you can't blame it on anybody but yourself. And I know that's not encouraging to us, but the mistakes that we make and the whatever we've made of our lives, God says to us, because the thief said on the cross when he was saying it to Jesus, he said, you are here, I'm here because of something I did. You are here because you've done nothing. You don't deserve this. We are punished justly for what we are getting, what we deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong. What he did as a thief on the cross is he recognized, I am the one that made the mistakes that I am paying for today. Romans chapter 3, verse 10 through 12 says this, there is no one righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands, no one who seeks God. All have turned away. They have together become worthless. There is no one who does good, not even one. And Romans 3:23 says, we have all sinned and come short of the plan that God created for us. You must recognize that you've messed up. And I promise you, I recognize that I've messed up. So this message is not to anybody. This is about us. We have messed up what God created for us to live out. The next thing you've got to recognize is what that thief on the cross did. Then he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. You know what he said? Hey, dude, I'm on a cross here and I'm about to die. Can you help me? Some of us live in a world that we have made mistakes and we have messed up and we've done all these stupid things, but we really, truly believe that we can fix them. And some of you are that kind of person. You are the control freak of all control freaks, and you really do believe that you can handle everything. And we get into these things that we've talked about, these lies that we buy into before. One of them is called the performance lie. We talked about it here at XL one time before, but we build our lives into, hey, if I can do some good things, I can fix this. And we truly do know that in our world, what's the one thing that can fix this car? Anybody know? Duct tape. Right? So if I just put a little duct tape here, is that fixed? Yeah, okay. Let me see. Oh, that's falling off. Oh. You can't even tell that. Oh, got a mirror problem. Yeah. Okay, that's better. Do you know we try that? We try to live our lives in a way that we are just good enough that we can fix all of this. And contrary to the fact that we all believe that hot glue and a duct tape hold the world together, it does not allow us to repair the lives that we have created through who we have become. We are not good enough to fix things. You know the other lie we live by? And we talked about this one before too, the religion lie. And we really do believe that if we just start going to church, and if we just start doing some things religiously, we can fix everything. And then we'll take our little car and our little life, and we'll put our cross right in the middle of it. You know what that does? Anybody know what that does? Huh? Puts a cross on a butt-ugly car. Does it not? And you know what you do when you try to live your life in this religious mindset? You can put crosses all over the place. You can add some to the side because, you know, if you're going to pimp out the car, you got to put stuff all over the place. And you have people going to church all the time. And you have people doing the religious thing all the time that are driving that car around as their life. And they're trying their best to hit every Bible study, and they're hitting every small group, and they're hitting every church service, and they think because they go on Sunday morning or Sunday night or Wednesday night or whenever they've gone all their lives, this car is going to be okay. And what you get is a really ugly car with a cross on top. Because you cannot fix what you have done in your life. It's not possible. When the thief said to Jesus, hey, remember me when you leave, he did not say, remember me because I am good. Didn't say that. He didn't say, remember me, and tomorrow when we get up from this, let's go to church and let me make sure I get to church enough to make it all okay where I can go with you and be in heaven. He didn't say that. He didn't have time for that. He said, Jesus, I have messed up me, and I need you to fix me. And when you get home, I want you to just simply remember me. That's all he had to say. First thing you've got to admit is that you have made mistakes in your life. And I can promise you, some of you are sitting here thinking, I cannot believe he's telling me I got to admit my mistakes. I promise you, every person in this room is admitting mistakes right now. Because there's not one of us that have been here over an hour that hadn't already made a mistake even tonight. And we do things that tear our lives apart, and we end up with this. Second thing is you've got to recognize that you need help. Because your duct tape and your religious stuff and your spray paint of crosses is not going to make a difference in your life. And the third thing is very clearly, you've got to have Jesus in order to know where you're going to go when you die. You got to recognize you've messed up. You got to realize you need help, and that help comes only in Jesus Christ. That's what he teaches us through this guy on the cross, the thief on the cross. He says, then he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus answered this as one of the most amazing passages in Scripture. It says, I tell you the truth, today you will be with me in paradise. It shatters all of the things you've heard all your life. If you're really good, you'll get to go to heaven and be with Jesus. If you're nice to everybody, you'll get to go to heaven and be with Jesus. If you do everything right, if you always ask forgiveness, if you always apologize, you'll get to go to heaven. You know what? That thief did none of that. He said, Jesus, I am worthless and I need you. And Jesus said, I tell you the truth, bro, today you're going to be with me. You know what else? He didn't go to church. And Jesus, from that cross, in one statement, shattered that whole lie of it is all about where I go on Sunday. It's all about what I do in the church. It's all about this, all about that. Jesus says, you've messed up, you need help, and I am it. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. And you say, well, you know, Jared, that's really nice and all, but it's not really all that easy. Let me tell you the coolest thing about Jesus, because here's the deal. There's a lot of cool things about Jesus. Lots of cool things. But one of the coolest is you've heard from your parents, or you've heard from your grandparents all your life, you've been growing up, and they've said, You know what Jesus wants to do is he wants to take that beat up, ugly car of yours and it's trash and got all this kind of stuff you've messed up and the mirror's all jacked up and it's got a sledgehammer broke all off in it, and Jesus just wants to patch that thing right up and let you move on. How many of you would be interested in buying this car if I patched it up and let you move on? Anybody? Bids? I'll put some more duct tape on it. Yes, it is. Needs a lot of duct tape. But here's the coolest part about Jesus. Jesus doesn't want to fix that, okay? Jesus doesn't look at your life and go, man, some mistakes are there. Let's just leave all those mistakes and let's leave all the screw-ups and let's leave all the hurts and all this and that. Let's leave all that and put some cover on it and make it look better. Jesus doesn't want to do that for you. Jesus wants to transform you and change you completely and make you something completely and totally new. He wants you to be one of those. But you know what? We live in this world of, I'll never be one of those because I was one of those once. And nothing anywhere in Scripture tells you that you've always got to be that. Nothing anywhere in the Bible tells us in our lives that we always got to be beat up and we always got to live according to who we were and according to what we've messed up. Nothing anywhere tells you that. You tell yourself that. And you say to yourself, you know what, I've made some mistakes, and yeah, I got the cross and the duct tape, but really it's still busted. What am I going to do? And what Jesus says to you is, hey, you know what, I don't care what you busted. I don't want to fix that. I want to give you this. And the statement tonight that I want you to understand, the first statement is this: all of us are either here or we have been there. Does that make sense? Every person in the room is either still this or you have been that. The question for tonight is, do you want to be that or do you want to be this? And I know you look at me and you think, okay, you got a nice car up there. What are you talking about? The truth is, Jesus said to the thief on the cross, the guy that had never done one thing good, the guy that did everything in the world to deserve to be crucified for it, Jesus said, hey, just by acknowledging me, I'll take you home with me. And what he says to you tonight is, I can take you from this to this in half a second if you'll acknowledge who I am to you. That's his promise to us. So are you over there or are you here? Spiritually, in your life every day, are you here or are you here? Because in order to know exactly where you're going for eternity, you got to recognize you messed up. You got to recognize that you've got to have help. But you mostly got to recognize that that help is Jesus. And if you have never, ever, ever said the words to Jesus, I acknowledge you, remember me when you get home, then you're still over here. And you can change all that tonight. Because God says to you, I want to change you. I want to move you. I want to grow you. I want to ask you to do something tonight that I've never, ever asked at XL. But I think that we have people in our group tonight and in our midst tonight that need to change from this to this. And only God can do that. And you came in here tonight and everything's funny and everything's good and we're smashing up cars and everything, but you're looking at this and you're thinking, okay, that is my life. That's all I got. I am ready for Jesus to change me into that. I'm going to ask you to do something tonight. In most places, you would, at this point, you would hear somebody tell you, everybody to bow your heads and shut your eyes because no one would want to be looking at anybody. But here's what we do at XL. I just want to know. I want to know if anybody in this room wants to switch tonight. I want to know if you want a life swap tonight. You've heard for 3 weeks now how God can take you and change you from what you are to what he wants you to be. And we're not all going to bow our heads, and I'm not going to talk to your foreheads while you're not paying attention to me. I just want you looking at me. Here's my question. If you are in any way interested in swapping from this to this will be the toughest decision you've ever made in your life. You know that? Because you don't know everybody in this room, and you don't know what's going on, and you don't really get all of that yet. But here's the deal. God says in the book of Revelation, here I am standing at the door knocking on your heart. If you'll open the door, I'll come in and live with you. And some of us for years and years and years have heard God knocking on the heart of our lives, and we've said, no, I'm just going to keep this. And tonight you have an opportunity to trade that in for everything you've ever dreamed of being. But you can't get there without Jesus. So I'm going to ask you a question tonight. If you are interested in trading your life from this to this, if you are interested in giving up your broken life that you have made broken over the years and say to God, God, I want you to change me and make me everything you want me to be. I want you to stand up. Right among your friends, right among your family, right among people you don't even know. I want you to stand up for me and look at me and say, I am willing to say tonight, I would at least like to discuss this and talk about swapping from that to that. I know it's the toughest thing you've ever done. You're the man. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else? Here's the deal, guys. We do, stand up for me. I know your back's hurting, but you got to stand up for a minute because we're proud. Here's the deal. Anybody else tonight, you have seen nobody's going to love you like this group right here. It ain't going to happen any more than in this room right here tonight. If you want to know Jesus and if you want to swap from that crud to this, stand up and give him your life tonight. Here's what I want you guys to do. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 beautiful men standing up ready to trade in what they've been living and give it to God. Guys, I couldn't be more proud. I got 4 guys back here. Steve's going back to these 4 on the left side. You can come up here. I want y'all to take off and walk right back there, and they're going to talk to you. And our band's coming up, and they're going to play a rocking song while you guys move. And they just want to talk you through this process. Give it up for them, guys. Let me tell y'all a secret. I'll bash the heck out of any car anytime to see 4 people step up and say, I want to trade that for that. You follow me? Go ahead, flip time.